I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two.
All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away then, while what's left of my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue. I don't allow it. Because in each of those words she let loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home. It's what she tells herself during her first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. Even I'm not sure if I still believe that. And if there is something in her reason that has changed along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers to keep.
I'll be careful this time, I promise. Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now?
Yeah, sure. He nods and that is the end of it. We spend the rest of the trip back to Salem Well in silence. All thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on the fluid adult mind and of smiles never meant for my eyes abandoned, if only for a brief moment. October 25. Nice. It begins innocently enough. Today's morning arrives like any other day before it, bright and clear. Even though it comes with an extra helping of the unusual October weather, I appreciate being able to catch a glimpse of the clear skies lately. After going through a bout of sickness last week, it has something to lift the mood of what would otherwise be a dreary morning. So I guess we're playing after the events now of the beginning. Let's see. Yep. I think we were here and then we skipped there. Oh, we're gonna play when Isabella went to Zachary's house. Good. And despite being mostly a creature of habit, I wind up waking earlier than usual because of it. Still no earlier than Isabella, it appears. I've assumed she'll take a day or two off because of what happened to Miss Cooper, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The sound of the morning news drifts from her unit when I walk past on the way to my mailbox. Chances are, around this hour, she's already dressed and ready to go, probably just waiting for the next bus to arrive. I've tried following her example before, but I don't think I'll be repeating that.
Really? How can anyone be up before the sun is up?
It's a habit she got from home, she said, instilled in her by the kind of life she grew up in. Like clockwork, it's always at 4 a.m. Oh my god. Either to help with the chores or prepare her siblings for school. It surprised me the first time. She just did not look like someone who could. In the end, I've simply passed it off as one of the many things anyone will have to get used to around her. Not that I'll ever fully understand. I'm my parents' only child. We are not well off, but so far I've lived a relatively easy life. I did not have to think about bills of food the next day or paying for any sibling's tuition on the top of my own or supporting a sick father's medication. All I have to worry about were my grades, if it would gain mom and dad's approval, or what we'd be having for dinner. When put next to hers, they all pale in comparison. They look less like problems and more like petty issues this way.
Petty issues?
But as unimportant as it all sounds, sometimes it suddenly rears at the most inappropriate moment. And sometimes they come through your mailbox in the form of a fancy looking letter, pretty ribbons and all. Whoever sent this has spent silly money on the envelope alone. Verging on ridiculous, really. I can already imagine Isabella wrinkling her nose once she sees this. Then she'll complain about unnecessary expenses and rich people problems. I'm almost afraid to touch it myself. As if simply brushing a hand against its crisp surface will be enough to put a crease on it, and it would be a terrible slight to the sender. But as extravagant as I find this, it's not really the first time I've received one. Most of the time, it's not even for me, so who am I to complain? Either way, no look of a surprise crosses my face once I flip the envelope over to see my parents' name written in a neat script.
Nothing new then.
Mr. Alistair and Miss Elissa Gears. Ooh. Their years in the Academy naturally brought with it various connections. People from other fields, arts, science, business, politics, you name it. This one, though, gives off a much personal vibe. Letters like this usually come from old students, people who've grown fond of my parents, and they in turn treat like children of their own. I've only met a few of them. Most have moved on to become successful in their chosen careers, and little letters like this are the way of expressing gratitude. It's one thing Mom and Dad are proud of, rightfully so, and I'm happy for them. But there are times I wish they remember they have a daughter here, a real one. Not that it's of any importance now. It's not like they did not raise me well and provided for me. They did. I would not be where I am now if it were not for their hard work. And like a dutiful child, I do everything I can to give back. Even if it's as small a thing as letting them know they've got another mail waiting for them. The phone rings for a good minute before someone answers. Mom, her voice as warm as I remember.
Becca?
Hi, Mum. How's the conference going?
Well enough. Until your dad sprained his ankle.
Oh no, is it bad?
I'm alright. In case anyone in this family cares to listen, I'm alright. Very much alive, darling.
And there you have it. He'll be up and walking in a few weeks, don't worry. We're going to have to extend our stay here until it heals, though.
She has a very particular voice.
Is something the matter?
Nothing big. Just that this mail arrived for you this morning.
Eli, thankfully she doesn't notice. Although, if I'm going to be honest, a small part of me yearns for her to do so and ask me about it, but I put down the idea almost as soon as it surfaces. I should not make them fret, they're busy.
What does it say?
Raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times, blah blah.
Becca manners. That isn't how I taught you to read.
Jeez.
Sorry. You are cordially... it's an invitation, Mum, for a housewarming party. From, Hannah?
The name rings a bell, though at the moment I can't recall when or where I've heard it recently. Must be nothing too important if I did not bother committing to it to memory. So, Anna sent an invitation to Rebecca's mom and dad. That's not a good thing. There are a lot of Annas in the world, so who knows?
Hannah.
She also wrote you a note, Mum. It says you used to be her private tutor at the Evans mansion.
Ooh.
And that she misses you and would love to see you two again.
It makes my heart clench to read another openly say those words to them, the same ones I want to tell them. I want to see you too. It's been years since we've been together as family, and if there's one thing that has not changed from childhood, it's that Mom and Dad are still busy with their respective careers. Out of the country, away on some meeting and symposium, sometimes for a month on end. It only grew more frequent with the years until I'm old enough to live on my own. I'd like to think that's how I've become independent at such an early age. They've always praised me for that. At times, I wish they didn't.
Evans? Oh, I remember now.
Oh, I remember.
Honey, it's Hannah. Hannah Evans. Remember? Bright girl, 2 years
Didn't she get married a few years ago? 7 now, I think. But they grow up so fast, these kids.
Oh yeah, that's true. Rebecca and Anna were friends apparently when they were young.
Yeah, she invited us to that too. Fonte de Medici.
Fonte de Medici.
But we missed that one because you had to present your paper in Singapore.
We did send her a note after. Still a shame we couldn't attend, though. What is it about this time?
She sent another invite for a housewarming party. Becca, when is it?
This Friday, Mum.
Oh, that's too bad. We'd love to be there, but Da's not in a condition to go walking around. I guess we'd have to decline again. I really miss that girl.
Aww.
I could go in your place.
I let it slip without thinking. Personally, I've never been fond of gatherings regardless of how simple people make it seem. But if there's one thing I hate hearing, that disappointed note in Mom's voice always ranks first. Whether it's directed at me or some other thing doesn't
Are
matter.
you sure? Don't you have work this Friday?
The event will be in the evening, Mum. It shouldn't take anything away from my schedule.
Schedule? Schedule. I thought that was schedule.
It's all right. The invite's for 2 people. I can bring someone with me so things don't get boring.
I see. Maybe you can also invite Ashton?
Mum, that's a sure no from him. He hates attending parties. But I'll see what I can do. If not, I can always bring Isabella with me. You know her. She won't say no if there's food involved.
Okay, if it's not going to be a big problem for you, I don't see why not. We owe you this one, darling.
Okay. Her voice is very particular.
No problem, Mum. I'll even say hi to Hannah for you.
Please do. And let her know we'd love to see her once we're back in the city. Leave her our number or something.
I will.
But you know, the 2 of you would have become really good friends. Don't you remember? You met with her once. If my memory serves me right, you were 12 then?
This too I can't recall. It's probably one of those meetings where we only talked a bit before going our ways. If she did leave an impression, I'm pretty sure I would have written about it somewhere or at least recognized her name. As it is, the only few people I remember clearly from that time in my life is Ashton and Mandy. To some extent. Mom must have sensed my confusion because she laughed.
Don't push yourself too hard, darling. Really? It felt like having 2 daughters back then. Sometimes I wish they didn't send her away to boarding school. But, well, you know how often that goes with them. Still, try talking to her while you're there.
Was like having 2 daughters, but she can't even remember her? That's weird.
Oh, we'll see. I'll let you know what happens after.
I'm looking forward to it, darling. Take care of yourself.
Will do. You too, Mum. Bye. Tell Da to be careful next time.
She chuckles then. A hearty one. Tender and always light on my ears. She may be a stern teacher, but this is the part of her I love the most. The sound of it still echoes even as our call comes to an abrupt end, bringing with it a memory from so many years ago. When life and responsibilities that accompany adulthood are things far from our minds. If given the chance, I'd love to go back to those. I don't dwell on it though, shaking it all away almost as soon as the memory forms a clear picture in my head. I've always wondered how Isabella can easily pretend everything's normal over a phone call, then bounce back to her usual self immediately after. I've seen her do it plenty of times. For me, it just drains whatever energy I have. And with a whole day of teaching still ahead of me, I can't afford to look exhausted in front of my students. Even for a wee bit. It's never a good example to set. So with another sigh, I put everything at the back of my mind and thread back to my room. The rest of my day awaits. 15 minutes later, I'm heading back out dressed for the day, my car keys in hand. Ordinarily, I don't stop for anything, there's never a need to.